Mesechta Menochos, Daf Samach Daled Amud Aleph. We're starting from the sixth line, from the top, starting with the words Ella Oma Rabba. We learned in the Mishnah that the Rabba, we try to match up.
Which line is it?
Huh?
Samach
Samach Daled. Amud Aleph, 6 lines from the top. We try to match up Rabbi Yishmael with Rabbi Yochanan Breika, Rabbi Yishmael ben Rabbi Yochanan Breika, that they hold up the same shita. What did Rabbi Yishmael say now, Mishnah? That when it comes to the soyin that they had for the oima, for the kabbalah oima, so they used a shalish soyin on Shabbos, but 5 soyin in the weekdays. In order that it should be min hamuvcha, you had more soyin of sailors to work with, in order that it should be sailors min hamuvcha. So the shaila was why Shabbos we go down to 3.
3 what?
To 3 soyin. So because he says it's better to do one malacha, it's taka, you can come to min hamuvcha, but it's better to do one malacha of sifting than cutting more of 5 soyin and do more malachas. Work hard on one malacha, make it min hamuvcha, than doing more malachas. So the Gemara, it's a yin of more malachas. When you're cutting 5 soyin, you're not only being merakid, you're cutting, winnowing. So it's much more malachas there. So that we don't do. So we're trying to pair up Rabbi Yishmael with another Tana. Says the Gemara, yesterday we tried to pair it up with Rabbi Yochanan Breika and we slugged it up. It's 2 different categories. When they get to a behema that they would skin on Shabbos, they were only skinned till the breast because they can get to the emurim according to Rabbi Yishmael ben Breika, because there was no need to go weiter. You only do what you have to do and not more. You don't do extra malachas on Shabbos. So the Gemara was mechalik there. It's bezayin to leave it like that. That's why maybe Rabbi Yishmael would hold you have to take off the whole thing. You can't compare the two. Here it's min hamuvcha, really 5 slang, you're still going to get better. Okay, says the Gemara. El Amar Rabba says Rabbi Yishmael and Rabbi Chanina Zgan HaKahanim. Rabbi Yishmael and Rabbi Chanina Zgan HaKahanim are saying the same thing. They said one thing. That's not that we learned in the Mishnah. In our Mishnah, Rabbi Chanina Zgan HaKahanim Oimil. Rabbi Chanina Zgan HaKahanim says that Shabbos Niksa Yachid. On Shabbos, only one person would cut the tvua. The Magalach, they would use one tool, the sickle. Ube Kupachas, they would use one box to gather the sign of tvua. Ube Chel, but when it came to the weekdays, it was 3 people, B'shalish Kupis, 3 boxes to gather, Ube Shalish Magalas, and 3 tools. Whether it was Shabbos or Chel, it was Shalish Kupis, Ube Shalish Magalas, it was always with 3.
Same thing.
Same. Says Gemara Midlay Kamer Rabbi Chanina Zgan HaKahanim Hasam. Rabbi Chanina Zgan HaKahanim said over there, Kivin the Havsha Leitachinam. Since you're able to come up with a selis min hamuvcha with one tool, one box, there's no need to have more. And so you don't add, and that's why b'Shabbos is only 1. Hachanami also here, but again to the amount of food that they cut for the tzedek of the Eimah. Even the Hevsha, since it's possible to get one saw, we're not going to be massive and more malacha, more than what's needed. Since it's enough with shalish sayin, in order to get a yisan muvcha for the Eimah, so therefore you don't have to cut 5 sayin like you do in the weekdays, like Rabbi Yishmael. Says Gemara, how do you know they're saying the same thing? You could say it's a big chilik. Dilma Adkan like Rabbi Yishmael. Maybe over here, Rabbi Yishmael said you don't cut more than 3 soyin on Shabbos because there's no pirsum in the cutting 5 soyin versus 3 soyin. What was the purpose of making a tumult? Because by Tusim learned that the only time that you cut the Eimah was Mimachas HaShabbos. Any other day, not. So in order to prove them wrong, in a place, in a way that even it wasn't on a Sunday, it wasn't in Machzah Shabbos like the Baitusim said, and we made a tumult. Aval Hassam, but when it comes to the amount of people cutting, when 3 people are doing the work of the
Shabbos.
and they're doing it on Shabbos, it's not Mechza Shabbos. So maybe they hold like the Rabbanan that dafka 3, because you need a pisum to be mevatel the taina of the baitusim that was dafka Mechza Shabbos, dafka on a Sunday. Inami, or you can learn ad kamaloi. So this is maybe that Rabbi Yishmael would hold like the Rabbanan and not like. And not like Rabbi Chanina's Gana Kanim, that one is enough. He would maybe, Rabbi Yishmael says, no, we need dafka 3. So zayin a tumult, mavatal zayin the taina that the Baitusim had in Naimi, or you could taina like this. At kan like Rabbi Chanina's Gana Kanim Hasam. Rabbi Chanina's Gana Kanim said over there that only one should cut because the ibechad ibeshleisha tzedek avay masabit kilchasei. Whether it's one person doing it, whether it's 3 people doing it, you're getting the same tvua, the sav tvua you're getting. But if it's 3 soyin or 5 soyin, there you're not getting the best. The best is if you have more soyin of tvua, so then you could choose out and come up with a better saw of sailors. So maybe they would hold like the Rabbanan that in Nishkei Chilik, whether it's Chayil or Shabbos, it's 5 signs, should be the same thing. Otherwise, Ravashi says, yeah, you're right. We can't say that Rabbi Yishmael and Rabbi Chanin's Gana Kanim are saying the same thing. No, where do we find Rabbi Yishmael Shita? Rabbi Yishmael and Rabbi Yossi Amid Avachad. Rabbi Yishmael and Rabbi Yossi said one did. Now we learned the Masechta Rosh Hashanah. When they get to the Kiddush HaChedesh, in the old times, when Adam would see the new Levana, they would come and testify in Bezdin, and they were allowed to even come on Shabbos, to be over on the Tchum Shabbos, to Zagin, to say that they saw the new Levana. Bein Shanira, whether they saw it on a clear day, Ba'olil means chlor, everybody could see it. Klovi the sun. Bein Shanira Ba'alam. And whether it was cloudy, Mechalam in the Edom were Mechala Lavasa Shabbos. Rabbi Yossi says, if it was seen in a clear day that the moon was so able to be seen even by the Bezdin, Mechala Lavasa Shabbos. Yeah, like you just said. There's no need for the Edom to come from afar. Everybody can see it. Since it's everybody is able to see it. You're not meisbech chilul Shabbos. Hachanami, so too, just like over there, Rabbi Yossi said, they shouldn't come from far because there's no need for the chilul Shabbos. Even the Evsha loy tachinan here also, since it's able to come from 3 soyin, so you don't do 5. You can get the muvchad sailors from 3 soyin. So how do you know that it's so clear? Dilma, it's not a comparison. Dilma Atkan, like Rabbi Yishmael Hacha. Over here, Rabbi Yishmael said you shouldn't do more than 3 soyin on a Shabbos. Ella the Leika, because there's Nimtzeis Atomachshin Las Lavi. I'm sorry, the Leika. The Leika, there's because there's no Nimtzeis Atomachshin Las Lavi. That Chas Shalem, that they could come a michshel out of it. If he does 3 soyin instead of 5 soyin, no michshel is going to come out. They're going to have the same soyin, that saw of pure muvcha de kesei. This is not a problem. Avasam by Adam who saw the new Lavana, the nimtzes hatam machshin las love. If you're going to answer them, so first of all, even if it's a clear night, people say, "What's the game? Why do I have to go?" The other guy will go. So that's why we allowed everybody who sees it, we tell them they should go on Shabbos. Or what kind of mission could happen in the future when it'll be cloudy? They will see it. They'll say, "Oh, just like we see it, they can see it." If we're going to stop it,
if it's cloudy,
no, but we see it, even though through the clouds. So just like we happen to see it, other people will see it. That's why we demand that they should go because probably other people might not see it.
Because it's
So I
cloudy.
can say that. So a mirshal could happen, and we won't be mekadosh the chedesh in its time. So that's why over there we will say, even on a clear day, they must go and testify. Because everybody, because chas v'sholem, a mirshal can come out. So it's maybe Rabbi Yishmael will hold like the Chachamim that are matad eidim to be mechal the Shabbos in order to go to Bezdin to testify on the new moon. If you want to see what the mirshal is, if I can find it, 1 second. Okay, I can't find it, but that's the gist of it. Okay, so you want inami, or they could time atkan loy come Rabbi Yossi Hassam there by the Eitzach Chodesh. Rabbi Yossi says that the Edom shouldn't be mechalal Shabbos. Why? Because others see it. The lake at Kavaya, because there's no need. Others, there's no need for it was clear. We're not talking about a carbon. We're loy nitna Shabbos lidachis. By the Edom, we're not going to give them the right for Kitzah Chodesh to be over the Tchum Shabbos. Aval hacha, but again to the shit for of the Eima, the Kitzah Kavaya. There's you can get even more meshubich the Keseilas. So we need the Shabbos lidachis. So maybe in this case, Rabbi Yossi would agree that you do 5 sayin, and he doesn't hold like Rabbi Yishmael only 3 sayin. They will say Rabbi Yossi holds like the Abanan that it should be 5 sayin because for tzedek kavaya to have a meh muvchet the keseiles, a meh mishubich the keseiles is deiches hashabbos. But Mashenkim, when it comes to the kids Shachayish, she says others will see it. So you can't compare the two. You can
see from far also.
You can see from far. You can slug it both ways. You can either say Rabbi Yossi holds like the Abanan, or you could say Rabbi Yishmael holds like the Abanan against Rabbi Yossi. Okay, Itma, we learn Shochat Shtei Chatei Shel Tzibur. If somebody made a mistake and Shabbos fell out on Rosh Chodesh and he shechted 2 Chatei Shel Tzibur. And he only needs one. Amar Rabbi Tamer Rabbi Yami Chayv al Ashniya. He's going to be Chayv on the second one, and we're talking about Upatal Ersheina. He shechted on Shabbos. He wasn't allowed to do a shechita. It's a malacha. He was mechal Shabbos b'shoigeg. So he's chayiv if it's b'meiz it's kares. B'shoigeg he's chayiv. B'shoigeg he's going to be chayiv achatas. And over here, what happened? Even if the blood of the first one, he shechted the first one, and he shechted the second one. Now, the Pearl Mamish, we're not using the first one. We're using the blood of the second one to be mechaper because the first one, the blood spilled.
On the floor.
So with Pearl Mamish, which one are we using? The second one. So he says, and even if you found that the first one was kochush, and we know we have a pasuk that even if to the generals it says it says that when even for what you're not going to serve a general, are you then going to serve for the Melech Malchei Amlachim? So for sure the halacha is that you have to give the more shmeina than kebehema. So that's why he says even if you found that the Rishayna was chusha, and he's still going to say he's over, even though you're supposed to shecht the shmeina versus the chusha. He's still going to be chai for the second one, for shechting the second one. Even though he wasn't the skapper with the first one, he was in the skapper with the second one, because we go after the shas hashchita. When he shechted the second one, he had no right to shech the second one. The first one was supposed to be the kapara. Then he shechted the second one. And then we said, oh, this is Meshmena, this should go really, we should use this one instead of the first one. You're right. So this is the famous shaila that they had, that there was a guy who stole the car, and he was able for stealing the car. But while he was driving, he saw there was a baby in the back, and it was a heated up car, and the baby was dying because it was hot. He brought the baby to the hospital, saved the baby. So the shaila was he chai for stealing also or not? So do we go according to the Maisa then or not?
He's not chai for stealing.
Oh, so we'll soon see. Umi Amar Rabba Hachi. Did then Rabba say?
Had I shown Saveda?
Yeah. Umi Amar Rabba Hachi. Did Rabba say that he's chai on the shchita of the shmeina after the kusha? Amar Rabba said the fetish oil of one shtei chatois. If he had in front of him two chatois, achas shmeina achas kusha. One was a shmeina and one was a kusha. Shachat hashmeina me'achakach shachat as kusha chayiv. If he first shachted the shmeina, that's the vagin kebehema that's supposed to go as a kapara for and it's supposed to go to the Eibishter. And then he shachs the kusha. Rabbi says he's for sure chayiv. Aber kusha. Yeah, but he's chayiv for shachting the kusha after the shmeina. But what's if it was the opposite? Kusha. Ve'achar kach shmeina. Potter, he's potter. This is what Rabbi says. Only we say to him, even after he shachted the kusha, havei shmeina chatchila. Even though he shachted the kusha, bring now the shmeina u'shchait and shach that for Hashem. So Rabba, we just said Rabba holds, even though he shachted the chusha and then the shmeina, he's chayiv. Here it says, Rabba says, beferish is pater. If you want, you can answer, Sami chusha mekamaisa. He raised the din, meaning the words that chusha, from the first memra, he raised the word that chusha was first. It was first, I'm sorry, he raised meaning, He didn't say that the chusha was first, and he said that you're chayiv. It was obviously the shmeina was first, and then he shachted the chusha. Or you could say they're arguing even when it's chusha first and then shmeina. Rabbi Yami will say it's chayiv, and Rabbi says it's pater, and Rabbi Yami is the one that said the first memra that you're chayiv. Ravinu said to Ravashi, Nim says. You shachted the kusha, but it wasn't kusha. When you looked at it, fast the behema. Oh, a real fat behema. And then after the shchita, you check the insides of the behema. It's als verfoiled, it's a kusha. But the chatchila, when he shachted it, he shachted it as a shmeina. And he also shachted a second animal, which was a shmeina, two shmeinas. But the first one came out to be a kusha. Ma, what's the din? Do we go after his machshava? If you're going after his machshava, his machshava was it was a shmeina. And then he shachted another one that so it's a machshava of Isur. Even though it was b'shegig, but his machshava was to shach l'chatchila a second one. Of a gavra l'Isur to kamachaven. The person who shachted the second behema, he didn't know that the first behema was a kusha. Because when he shachted the first behema, so I looked up the festa behema. Or perhaps, we go after his actions. His actions were that b'per mamish, which behema was mechapa, the second behema. So he shouldn't be chayiv, because we look at his actions. Amalei lav hainu de Rabba v'Rava. He says, this is not similar to the din of Rabba v'Rava. Ditma, that we learned. Shama shetava tinik bayam, upeidas mesuda lahalis dogim. A shmur went out that a child drowned in the yam, and he spread out a net in order to bring out the fish. Vehela dogim, and he only brought out fish. Chayiv is chayiv. If niskam lahalis dogim vehela dogim vetinoik,
he didn't catch it.
He didn't catch the baby.
The baby didn't catch.
No, and his mind was to chop fish.
He didn't think about the baby.
His shmua was, he heard the baby drown, but he did the mitzuda lahalis dogim.
Oh, he didn't go for the baby.
He's a fisherman. He doesn't know. For babies, there's no money. The baby's not a fish. So no fish for you. I mean, it's not. No money there.
No shorting. No money, no shorting.
Yeah, that's it. No money, no tiki. Hella dogim. And he brought up fish. But if if he had in mind to bring up fish, and he brought in the net, he took out the baby also. Rava says he's chayv because his kavanah was for the fish. Rabba potter, and Rabba says potter because you look at the maisi. He saved the baby. Vad kan Rabba like a potter only mishum kibul neshama, only because he heard the shmur that a baby drowned. Amrina nami daite atinik. We could say when he went to spread the net
For the baby.
he says I'm sure if he heard the baby drown, he says if the baby's there, alavai he'll chappen the baby with the fish echad. So okay, avalim lo shama. But what if he didn't even hear that a tinnik drowned, and he caught in the net the baby with the fish? Lo, he's not going to be potter because then he knew nothing about it.
You saved the baby. No.
Yeah, but
That's
not a mice.
So he get a revolt.
If you could say if
He
you
does a
could,
good deed and then he gets.
no, that's not called a good deed. If you say he knew about it that the baby was in there, you could say, oh, he had a mind for the good deed. But if he knew nothing about it, his whole kavanah is fish.
He should save the baby.
Okay, das yeah. Hashgacha, he should save the baby. Hashgacha is auch happen klep for the Aveda was in the Gitan.
Swimming with the fish.
Right.
You're like going to catch him like Moshe.
The Ikadamini, others say Amalei Hainu Pluktai the Rabbi Rabba. Others say no. That's the machlekes of Rabbi Rabba. The Hitma Shama Shatava Tina Bayam. Upars Mesudal Halas Dog Mehela Dogim. Then Chayiv, he's Chayiv. Halas Dog Mehela
It says
Tina.
he heard that there was a tinnik.
Oh, so that's where the machlekes of Rabba Rabba was.
Because you heard of it.
But he says if it was Lahalas Dogim, Mehela Dogim Chayiv. But we're talking about Shama Shatava Tinuk. He heard that the baby drowned. Lahalas Dog Mehela Tinuk V'Dogim. Rabba Amar Potter, Rabba Amar Chayiv. Rabba says he's Potter, Rabba says Chayiv, Rabba Amar Potter, because Zil Basa Maisa. We go after his Maisim. Since he saved the Tinuk, and here he says, even if he didn't hear about the drowning, right? He saved the Tinuk, he's Potter. Rabba Amar Chayiv. Rabba says he's Chayiv Sil Basa Machshavtei, because we go after his Machshava. His Machshava is Lahalas Dogim. Like in the famous story, I says, you come in zum Rav hat gesagt, ich weiß, how am I going to say wieder, die Yom Kippur? Ich habe gar nicht gesündigt der Jahr. So der Rav says, you know, das noch Zeit, das schon Zeit. Hast du ein Cheshbon mit der Schochen? Maybe, yeah. Hat a Cheshbon. He comes to his Schochen. Oh, he beats him up. And he walks out. Oh, Baruch Hashem. Jetzt kann ich sagen wieder. And on the way out, the wife opens the window. He says, Bacharo, your man, weiß nicht, was mitzvah getan. So now he's stuck. No video again. Amar Rabba. Rabba hat gesagt, Choyle shamdu legregeres achas. Choyle that they evaluated that he only needs one dry fig to save him, that he shouldn't die. 10 people ran to bring that Gergeris to save him. Pturim, they're all potter, because they all came to save him. Even if they came one after the other, even by the first fig, the first guy gave him the fig, he was revived, and now the other 9 came, and he's all right. Doesn't matter. He's still potter. They're all still potter because they came to save his life.
Because
The Mashal was to save him, sure. But you Rabbi yes tashayla. Chayla shamdu l'shtei gregaris. A chayla that they evaluated, he needs 2 dried figs to live. V'yesh shtei gregaris v'shtei oikatzim. There's 2 gregaris, but on 2 different stems. So you're gonna have to rip off 2 different gregaris, 2 figs, off of 2 stems. And then he had a choice. Oda v'shalish v'kitzachas. There were 3 growing on 1 stem. Now 3 is too much. Which one do you bring? Do we bring the 2 because that was the share he needed? The chazalei, that's what was row for the chayla.
The third one has 3 on top of it.
But he's saying there was two different. Should you rip off 2 because that's all he needs? Or you take off the whole stem, even though it's going to be now more than the share. The kamemata ktsira.
He does it one shot.
He's doing 1 shot. He's doing less ktsira, but he's taking too much. So which one overpowers? Something that's not roi to take off because it's more than the amount, or you take off roi, but you're going to do 2 different ktsiras.
More melachas.
More malachas. So Gemara Pshita Shalosh Masina. It's a Pashta Zach that we bring 3. The 3 overrides because it's less malacha. That kind of like Hamar Rabbi Yishmael Hassam. There in the Mishnah when it says on Shabbos you have to do only 3 sayin and do less ktsira, less malachas. Only when it's a memayit in the shir achila, meaning that
less amount.
that it's less than an amount. Kamemayit ktsira. So then you can do less ktsira. Aval hacha the chikamemayit ba'achila, when you're gonna do less achila, kamipasha ktsira, but you're gonna do more malachis, more ktsiras. When do we say you're gonna do 3? If the 3 soyin, if it's gonna be the kamemayit ktsira means you're gonna do less malachis. So you're allowed to go from 5 to 3 because it's less malachis. So it's not like our Mishnah.
There's no food.
That's by the shalish soyin. We said instead of 5 soyin, why do we do 3? We do less because the less is less malachis. But over there, when you take less, it's going to be more malachis than you take the more. Then you do the 3 instead of the 2. Because the 3 is on one stem.
But the other one's
And
individual.
the 2 was on 2 different stems. So then you go for more, but because it's less malachis, so it's not the same case.
So the person has to make all this cheshbonos.
Yeah, yeah.
While he's doing
Yeah.
what to do.
Sagt der heilige Mishnah mitzvah Eima, habe Menachos. The mitzvah of Eima is to bring from the tfuah, or the barley that's closest to Yerushalayim. Either because you shouldn't be mava al mitzvah, or it's going to become hard, and it's supposed to be caramel, it's supposed to be soft. Lo bika akara b'Yerushalayim. What's if you don't have any ripe ones right close to Yerushalayim? Then you can bring them from anywhere. There's a story that to bring a Sa'edim that was cut from a very far place, far from Yerushalayim, called Gagos Tzifin. Ushtei Alechem bebikes ein soicha. And they brought the Shtei Alechem from the chitin that were cut in the valley of Ein Seicha, which is far away from Yerushalayim. In fact, one of my time up. Why do you have to bring from the Seidim or the chitin that's closest to Yerushalayim? Why? The answer is Mishum. By Oima it says Gerish Carmel, Takaves Mincha Bikuracha. Caramel means that it has to be fresh. It has to be plumpy and fresh. But if you're coming from far, it's going to become hard.
You have to grind them anyways, the chitim.
Yeah, but the chitin that you're bringing has to be plumpy. But by the time you come, it becomes hard. It's too far. If you want, you're not allowed to be. If you can be mekayim over here, the mitzvah with cutting the two over here, you're not allowed to go further. You're not allowed to be mava on a place where you can do the mitzvah right here. Okay, those are the 2 reasons. There was a story that the Oima was brought from the place Gagos Tzifin. The house of the Chashmonaim, they had a fight. 2 brothers, Hyrcanus and Aristobulus. They 2 were fighting.
2 brothers.
Those the sons of the Melech Alexander, Yanai, from the house of Chashmonaim. And Hyrcanus Melachutz. Hyrcanus brought the Romans with him to surround Yerushalayim. That's one brother. Aristobulus, Mibifnim, he was inside the city of Yerushalayim. Every
They were friendly, these guys?
No, fighting. 2 brothers fighting, and Hyrcanus wanted to take over Aristobulus. He wanted to take over the whole Yerushalayim, so he surrounded it. But in the meantime, every day, from inside Yerushalayim, they would take a basket with money and throw it over the wall. They would throw money over the wall for animals. To get animals. And the people of Hyrcanus who were standing outside in Bachutz would give them kvasim for the tminim. And on a basket, they dropped the money. They put him the kvasim of the sedum, and they brought it over, and they would be marking.
He wanted to kill everybody, but how about the people who helped out?
That they let business go on. Money talks. Yeah. Here Rashi says, what does it mean, Chachmas Yivanis? The signs. They knew they had special sign language. How to be, not the Lashon, but the sign, the Chachma was how to make sign language. So there was one zaken. He said, "Listen, Lazlahem." He explained them the Chachmas Yevanis with the Rimazim. As long as Aristobulus are able to do the Aveda of Akravas Akabanis, they're always going to be protected. You'll never be able to take over your Shalayim. So Shir Shulahu Lahem, the Narmekupa, they gave them money one day, like regular business as usual. They put in a chaza in the thing. When they took up the chaza, once they got to the middle of the wall, not Sipana Bachema, the chaza to eingesteckt the nuggle in the wall. When this daza Eretz Yisrael Abba Meis Pasa al Abba Meis Pasa, the whole Eretz Yisrael tzichishakel, because the Eibishter was very upset on being mechal the Eibishter's name. He's sending a chaza to the famous. The Eibishter made the whole Eretz Yisrael shake. And they said, Arud to somebody who raises a chaza, and Arud is geshalten to somebody who learns the Chachma of Yavanis. Because of this story, this Zaken hinted to Hurkanis as Mizol Neshikin Kosher Behemes. Shanino Maisa, Shaba Oimer, Migages Sifun, Shtei Alachem, Mibikas Ein Seich over there. That was the story, another story on the side, that they couldn't get Tfuah. They had to get it from far. So here's the story. Kimata Eima, when the Zman of the Minchas Eima reached that year, they didn't know from where they're going to bring the Eima. They made a announcement. Whoever knows where to get Tfuah, let us know. This Elam, this mute came, who heard it, but he couldn't speak.
He was tape, no?
No, nicht toy.
Nicht reden.
He can't reden. It's a Elam. So what happened? Oisav Chada Yoda Igra, the Chada Yoda Tzifa. He put one hand on a rooftop, and one hand he put on a hut. So now one is called Gag and one is called Tzifa. Amlahu Matchai. Others say this was Mordechai from Esther, from the Megillus Esther. Taisus it's so many years he couldn't have lived that long. But everybody was called Mordechai. Whoever was a Memuna on the Indian of Oima, on the Tfuah, they called him Mordechai. So you want to is there a place called? So right away Mordechai understood from the Chash, from the Elam. He put one hand on the Gag, on the one on a Tzif. So he says, does anybody know of a place called Gagish Tzifin or Tzifin Gagis? Batku, Ashkechu, and they found the place this Gagish Tzifin. Yeah. When they want to bring the Shtei Halachem, they didn't know from where to bring it. They made a achraza, another announcement. This Elam came. He put one hand on his eye. One he put on where the what do you call the socket, where the lock goes into the wall. So you have, let's say, a deadbolt. So the deadbolt goes into a socket. So that's called soicha. He put one hand on the ein and one hand on the soicha.
Next to him.
He was standing by a door, and his eye is on his head. I mean, he doesn't have to go so far. By a wall, yeah. So right away, Mordechai had to verstanden. Amalu Mordechai. Umi keduchte the shma ayin soicha ayin. But they searched and they found the place, and that's where they got the chitim for the oima, for the shtei halacha. There were 3 women that brought 3 pairs of birds. Each up 1 pair of birds. One said, I'm bringing a pair of birds for Zava. So the Chaverim of Mordechai am verstanden Zivasi. The Kavanah is Zava Mamish. The blood is running from her. So they had to bring 2 Kavanas. Achat is Noila. Liyamasi. Le'yamasi mamish, meaning that it was flowing. The dam was flowing by her like kayam, like the water of the yam. Lo'inasi.
So what does that mean that she's not?
That she's a nida, yeah. Lo'inasi, lo'inasa. Also, a carbon for a ziva.
So the whole time she was like a.
So these are three different women, but each one used a different word for the zavus. Yeah, it says each one brought it.
Was it back to Chatas?
One was for chatas, one was for oila. That's how you have to bring. The kulu says the Gemara chada chatas chada oila. Each one brought one chatas, one oila. Amalu Mordechai said, who says that's what the pshat was? Shama bezoiv sigma. Maybe the one that said zoiv, there was so much blood coming out of her that she was about to die. That's why she brought the carbon. Yeah. And Shem Bayam Sikna, and the one that said
she wasn't the Zava.
No. It was she was bleeding a lot.
Oh,
it was maybe polyps, who knows? Shema Bayam Sikna, or maybe when it's the one that said Yamasi, it meant Pashat Bayam. She had a sakana of the ocean and she was saved. Or Shema Beina Sikna, and the one that said Beina means Pashat Oil, literally. The Kula Eilis Dino, all these Eifes of these three kingdoms were only Eilis. They were Nadav Shalayf. No. Baduk Vashkach, and they checked, and it was exactly like they found out that it was exactly like Mordechai had said. They found that it was like the words of Mordechai. It wasn't the Zavos. It was Sakana. This is what we learned in the Mishnah. Psachya was the Memuna ala Kinim on the birds that they brought. Psachya is a Mordechai. Psachya is going on Mordechai. Why is Mordechai called Psachya? He would speak and say all the hidden stuff and bring it out.
Why couldn't the women tell them? Couldn't they explain exactly what their situation was?
They could, but he figured it out. And he knew the 70 languages. Says, what's the big deal? The whole Sanhedrin also knew the 70 languages. Only the wise people, good-looking people, Bali Koima, Heiche, Bali Zikna, Alta, Bali Chshofen, people, they had to know the Kishuv to know if the guy had to give David Kishuv or not. So you see, they knew 70 Lashenas. So that the Sanhedrin shouldn't have to listen from an interpreter, because an interpreter can find this body. The Yotzes, yeah. Ella the Hava Boyle Lishna V'Darsh. What was special about Mordechai? That Mordechai knew how to decipher from the Lashenes what a person means. But Mordechai Bilshon, meaning Boyle Lishna. He was able to, if the Lashenes were mixed or were hidden, he was able to figure it out what it was. Like in the story over here, he figured out exactly that the story was that it wasn't a nida, it was all sakana.